guys, my name is Rohin. Today I'm going to be showing you how to edit like connorjaiye, and let's get into it. So the way I've structured this editing tutorial is I've made presets for you to go ahead and download, which only work for After Effects, by the way, which is the software we're going to be using in this video. If you're using Vegas or any other editing software, you can still follow on. However, I recommend you use After Effects, as I think it's the better editing software. But without further ado, let's get into it. So once you open After Effects, you just want to click new project, and then what you need to do, even if you're new to After Effects, I'm going to kind of explain everything you need to know. Is you just want to right click in this area here and click on create new composition. This is basically going to make an area on where you can put all your clips. You can rename the clip. I'm just going to call it montage. Now for the resolution, ideally you want to probably be using 1920 by 1080, so make sure it's set at that. Your frame rate is going to be 60. Even if you're using 30 FPS clips, I recommend you just use 60 FPS, as it'll just be better in general. And for the duration, you can make this as long as you like. It doesn't really matter. You can make it shorter later on when you're editing and rendering. So just go ahead and make it as long as you want and just click on OK. Okay, the next thing we need to do is we basically just need to find where we have our clips and songs. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. And here, as you can see, I have my clip and my song. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag my song over to where we made our composition earlier. And this will pull it in, well, like where all the content for our project file is. And what we want to do now is we want to double click on this composition here to open it within our timeline. And we just want to drag the song over here just so we can see it as a layer. Now we can click this landscape button here, or like mountain button, to zoom in to our timeline so we can see everything just a bit more clearer. Next, if we click this arrow here and then go to audio and then go to waveform, you can see how the song, like the waveform of it, which will help us mark the song for beats in a second. And if I click spacebar, as you can see, our song plays nicely. One thing I do want to do is I want to play the song and click the asterisk key. If you're unsure on what the asterisk key is, it's this key, like this key here, on your numpad. If you don't really have like that key, because on a 60% keyboard, you can go to edit and then go to keyboard shortcuts, and you can change the marker key. So what we want to do is we want to select our song first, right? And then we just want to play it. And then on every beat drop, what we want to do is we just want to click the asterisk key so it creates a marker on our layer. If this method is a bit like too hard for you, I don't know, you have like slow reaction time or something, you can basically go to like where the waveform like is really dramatic here, and you can create a marker right here. I just prefer to do it this way. Sometimes the waveform isn't entirely accurate. Alright, the next thing you want to do is you want to download the editing pack in the description. It will come as a WinRAR file. To extract a WinRAR file, just like right click on the WinRAR file and click on extract here, and it'll extract everything pretty well actually. And once you extracted it, there'll be folder called Cjaiye editing pack. There'll be a readme in here. You don't have to read me. Open the readme, but it just explains about the pack, and basically it has most of the effects that Cjaiye uses. Okay, before we actually apply the presets within this pack, we want to obviously drag in our clips. So find the clips and just drag it to the similar place on where we imported our song earlier on. And then we just want to drag our actual clip onto our timeline so we can see it as a layer. And then you see this little blue thing here. This indicates what part of the video we are seeing. So we want to drag this to the first marker here, which is our beat drop, and we want to drag the actual clip to where the kill happens. So now when you're editing, when you're syncing to where someone gets a kill, you always want to look in the kill feed. Don't look up like when you first start spraying or anything. Just look up what happens in the kill feed. So notice as I drag the clip along my timeline, the kill pops up in the kill feed right there. As you can see, he kills the Euro actually. So now if I just play this, right? As you can see, it's fully synced. For this video, I don't really want to be showing these skills before. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut it right here. And to cut a clip in After Effects, you just want to click on the layer that you want to cut. You want to click Control, Shift, and D, which will cut the layer. And then I'm just gonna go to the layer before it and delete it. So now if I go back and play this, as you can see, stuff before it doesn't happen, which is good. Another effect that I want to show you guys in After Effects is connorjaiye uses an effect called leave color. He did it earlier on actually. He doesn't do it that much anymore, but for a few of you guys that want to know what the effect is, first of all, wait, let me just go to the default layout, and you'll see over here on the right here, you'll see your effects panel. If you search for an effect called leave color and you drag it onto your clip, you set color to leave, and I'm just going to set it to yellow. So click this like little pen tool and set it to like yellow. And if you drag the slider up on amount to decolor, you can see that it kind of fades away colors, all the colors except for yellow. connorjaiye used this for his intros at the start of his videos, and you can basically use this effect to create intros if you want, like connorjaiye. I'm not going to be using this effect because connorjaiye doesn't use it that much anymore, so I'm just going to click on the effects and delete it. If you don't see this effects tab in the way, just click on go to projects and go to the right, and you see effectuals for the layer that you are currently selected. Alright, next thing I'm gonna do, we just kind of create a fade in right now, because right now it kind of just appears quite suddenly. So what we want to do, I'm gonna drag my my like blue timeline thing here directly on the exact frame on where the video shows up. I want to click this arrow key here on my layer for my clip, go to transform, then I want to click the stopwatch button here next to opacity, and I want to drag this down. And by clicking the stopwatch button, this allows us to basically control or keyframe certain values of our video, which basically allows us to change them over time. So for example, if I drag this opacity to 0, you can see that our video doesn't show. And then if I go like a couple of frames forward, something like this, and I drag that opacity up, and now I play it, you can see we have like a nice fade now as it goes from the 0 opacity to 100. Kind of creates a smooth transition. I think it's quite fast. Oh, sorry, I mean slow personally. So I'm gonna drag this keyframe a bit to the left. And what you want to do to make the transition just look a bit smoother, you want to highlight all the keyframes just by clicking in the empty space and click F9. And now if I play this back, the transition's just a bit smoother, and it was a quick fix, and it just looks really good in general. Next thing you want to do is we want to find a point on where, after he gets the kill actually, and he pulls up the knife. And what I want to do is I want to slow it down when he pulls up the knife. So I want to find a point on where I want it to slow down first. I think it will be best to slow down when he flings the knife backwards like this, like in this part here. So once you found the point on where you want like the knife to slow down, click Control Shift D to cut the clip. You want to right click on the layer now, go to time stretch, and I stretch it to 200. And increasing this value will make the video slow down more, and decreasing it will make it go faster. It's a bit confusing, but after a while you can kind of get used to it. Just copy these settings here and then click on OK. And now if I play this, as you can see, it slows down. And I want there to be a transition here because there's a different beat drop. So I'm just going to click Control Shift D and then cut the clip. So now if I play this back, And by the way, if you feel like your video is in slow motion or it's lagging, one thing you need to do is you probably want to set up your After Effects, and you probably are new to After Effects. So I do have a video on how to set up After Effects properly and just generally use it for beginners. You can click it in the link in the description, or you can click it in the top right now, for you people that are new to After Effects. However, basically, this is just your PC trying to render the video and store it somewhere on your computer. And like slow computers might not do this well, so you might have to play the video a couple of times in slow motion before you can play it back normally. And as you can see, this looks good. However, the slow motion bit looks a bit laggy. And to fix this, all you want to do, you just want to click on your clip, and you want to double click on this box here, which will enable optical flow. And this will basically allow the video to play back a lot smoother, and After Effects will try to fill in missing frames, which can drop when you try to slow down the clip. So now if I play this back, as you can see, it's a lot smoother. Okay, this is good now. However, there's not much impact actually when he does get a kill. So one thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to do this Shockwave Effect, which I'm going to be showing you how to do now. So first of all, in the Cjaiye editing pack, there's the God Shockwave.mp4. You just want to drag this into your timeline, and I'm just gonna move it to here, and I want the shockwave to appear right about here as he gets the kill. Now, one thing you want to do, you want to remove this black screen. To remove this black screen, just right click on the layer, the shockwave layer, go to blending mode, then go to linear dodge. Now if I play this, it looks okay, however it happens quite slow. So what I want to do is I want to make the shockwave like appear a lot faster. So I'm going to right click on it, go to time stretch, and this time I'm going to slow it down. I'm going to put it to something like 20. I think it's pretty good actually. If I play this back now, and as you can see, it looks a lot better. The shockwave isn't actually scaled to our whole composition size though. As you can see, it's like a bit small. So to fix this, what you want to do, you just want to right click, go to transform, and then fit to comp. And now if I play this, it's a lot bigger and it fits our whole composition. One thing I would like to do, which is optional, but I like to do it anyway, is I add BTC LED, which is a plugin. If you're not familiar with this, it's basically a paid plugin for After Effects, which you can download. I'll leave a paid link in the description. So what you want to do is you want to drag the BTC LED plugin onto your shockwave. It will just take a while to update. And what you want to do is you probably want to decrease the size of LED size X. Something like 1 I think will do actually, just the lowest value, which will make the shockwave look a lot better. One thing you can also do is you can add hue/saturation to change the color of it. Click this box that says colorize, and then now you can change the hue, which is basically the color of it. I want to make it like yellow/orange color, something like this. And it looks a bit bland right now, so I'm going to up the saturation actually, and just keep on adjusting the hue until I think it looks good. Something like that will look good. I'm going to also show another optional thing. If you have a plugin called Deep Glow, you might want to add that, and this will basically add glow onto the shockwave. It looks pretty cool. And by now you probably want to save your project, so click Ctrl S and save it. I'm just going to call it tutorial. You can save it whatever you like, it doesn't really matter, just click save. Alright, next thing you want to do is we're going to use the presets that work with After Effects. So what you want to do, to use these presets, you want to create an adjustment layer to actually put the effects on. So click on Ctrl-Alt-Y. And now we want to find out which preset we want to use. when we're using the shockwave effect, we use quite a lot of presets. I'm going to go through them one by one actually. So first of all is the blur impact. Before I actually apply an effect to an adjustment layer, I like to rename it so I can just copy and paste the adjustment layer later on, and overall my workflow is a bit more organized. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the adjustment layer, click enter, and I'm just going to call it blur impact, just for example, right? Okay, now what you want to do is you want to go to the exact point in your kill, click on the adjustment layer, then go at the top here to where it says animation, and click on apply animation preset, and you want to navigate to where you have the presets located on your computer, and we're adding blur impact, which is just what I'm going to add. Now once you're here, you want to click U so you can see the keyframes, and you just want to drag the adjustment layer until you can fully see the blur, for example here. And I'm just going to cut the adjustment layer by clicking Ctrl+Shift+D on certain parts, since we don't need the beginning and end parts. And now as you can see, we have like a blur kind of impact. If you get these weird like distortions, well yeah, basically distortions, like you see like little dots like that, right? Or yeah, little dots like this. What you can do, which is it's basically like a weird bug with this effect actually, is you can use Gaussian blur and keyframe Gaussian blur. However, BCC lens blur OBS does look good, and for me, I don't really get these weird artifacts that much. As you can see here, I actually did kind of get it. One thing you could try to do to fix it is you can lower the gamma of the effect too over here. That also might help it out a lot. And make sure when you apply these presets, it's over your overlay and your clip, so it actually affects it. And we're gonna add another effect actually, so create a new adjustment layer. I'm gonna call it zoom in, and this is the effect where basically the screen kind of zooms in and focuses on the player, and then it zooms back out. So I'm gonna apply that animation preset again, and we have CJ zoom in. Click on that, click on U to see the keyframes, and when the kill happens, I just want to drag the adjustment layer right here, and this way it will zoom out when he gets the kill. By the way, you can adjust these keyframes, by the way, to make the zoom in happen like before or after. So for example, if I highlighted these keyframes and I put them here, as you can see, the zoom in happens a lot before. However, I want it to happen here as it kind of syncs well with the song. So again, I'm just going to cut the adjustment layer now. And another effect I'm going to add is S-Glow. Another preset, sorry, I'm going to add is glow effect. I'm just going to call this glow. I'm going to add the glow. Like this. And just keep on doing this really with as many effects as you want. I'm going to also add wave warp. Wave warp impact. Also, some of these effects will require plugins like BCC and Sapphire, so you might not be able to use the pack. But these are just the effects that CJ uses. So if you don't have them, you might not actually be able to edit exactly like CJ. I'm gonna add the color fade effect, which will basically fade the colors before that he actually gets the kill. I'm not bothered to rename the adjustment layers here just because I'm doing a quick tutorial. However, for organization purposes, you might want to do that. Okay, now I believe that's everything. Oh yeah, we also need to add the shake actually. Here we go, the shake. Yep. And I'm just gonna drag. I always drag my shakes to the top actually. And if you get like weird like boxes like this, what you want to do, you want to come down to your clip, select it, add something called motion tile. Increase the output width and height, and then you just want to tick this box saying mirror edges, and it'll kind of help fixing that like black black bar issue that you would get. Also, remember to try and put the glows always on top of your shakes, otherwise you might get like weird distortions and stuff. So that's just like a tip. So now if I play this back, as you can see it's rendering, so it'll be in slow motion. I fully render it. As you can see, that looks pretty good actually, just from the presets we've applied. Next effects I'm going to be showing you is how to do the knife effect, like when he pulls it up. There are several ways of doing this effect. I'm going to be showing you the rotor brush way. So what you want to do, right, first of all, is you want to cut the clip on where he first pulls up the knife, which is right here. So click on your clip and just cut it. And that should be good right there actually. So what you want to do now, right, is you want to double click on the clip. You just want to zoom out. And then once you're here, go to view, resolution and full if you're not at it already. Just so you can see the when you're rotor brushing and we're gonna be basically be masking out our knife. We want to see exactly what we're rotor brushing, and the mask will be most accurate when we have full quality. Next up, you want to click this rotor brush like tool here, and you just want to click areas of the knife. So this pink outline thing kind of highlights it. The reason we're doing this is it's basically the same as masking. If you know how to mask, you can also go ahead and mask the knife out. However, I find rotor brush is easier in the latest version of After Effects. So the reason we are rotor brushing this knife out is I'll put a preview of the effect we're making here on the screen. Is we're basically going to mask out the knife so we can apply certain effects to it to make the effect that you are seeing now. Okay, so now that you've done this one frame of the knife, you want to click Control and then the right arrow key to go forward one frame, and you just want to keep on correcting the mask. To make the circle bigger or smaller that you're kind of selecting the knife with, you can click Control and then click the left mouse button while holding Control and move your mouse up like sideways, and you can control the size of the dot. So for example, I would want quite a big brush here to select this whole area, and then right here I'll probably want to make my brush smaller to select this area here, and you just want to keep on doing this really. Like this. If there's areas that you don't want like this, what you can do is you can click the Alt key on your keyboard and you can highlight to remove certain areas. Like this, here we go. And you just want to keep on correcting it. The more accurate it is, the better. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just going to rush it because of this tutorial. I'll keep on doing it with you guys just so you can see exactly how I do it. But it's not essential to get it perfect anyway. So don't worry if it's not spot on. Like it's like this, you're not really gonna notice in the edit, so it's gonna be good. Okay, so once you're here now, we're at your timeline, you basically have you're basically right at the end of the cut of your clip. This means that you're now not really affecting or rotor brushing this clip anymore, and we want to rotor brush this clip later. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna click freeze, and this will basically fix the mask and basically create a mask in After Effects for us for our knife. And you can see here rotor brush undefined is frozen, unfreeze to update. We want to go back to the composition we made earlier, and as you can see our knife is fully masked out. However, we have no background, so what we want to do to add the background is we want to click on our clip, we want to click Ctrl D, we want to click on the bottom layer here, and we just want to delete the rotor brush and refine edge effect. So now if we remove that effect from the bottom layer only, when you remove it from the bottom layer, we have the knife pull out and the background fully done. Now the next thing you want to do is you want to add the effect. So to create the effect, what we want to do is we want to duplicate the layer with our rotor brush on, like so. Okay, so once we duplicated the layer, we want to basically select the middle layer, and we want to add an effect called s_edge colorize. If you don't have Sapphire plugins, you can also use an effect called find edges. It's not going to work as well. I'll show both ways on how to do it first, actually. So for you Sapphire users, which is a paid plugin, by the way, I'll leave a link to where you can buy it in description. Edge colorize. You just want to drag it onto the middle layer, and what you want to do is you want to set all the colors to the color of what you want the effect to be. I like light blue, so I'm just going to put light blue, and it kind of matches with like what's going on right now. So I'm going to put light blue. Don't change the background color though. We want to leave that at black. One thing we want to do next is we want to change the position of it, because right now it's directly like underneath our other mask, which is at the top here. And what we want to do that is we just want to click on the middle layer, click on P to bring up the position, and we can just change the position of it. I roughly want to move it right and then up a bit, and then I want to click S to scale, and I can bring the scale up like so, roughly about like there. And then what we want to do now is we just want to right click on our middle layer, go to blending mode, and select linear dodge. And this will basically get rid of the black like a little bit for us, which will look cool. One thing you want to do, maybe on the top layer, you just want to bring up the feather to around like 10, depending on how accurate your mask is. This will basically allow, so sometimes if you don't mask your rotor brush completely 100%, it will basically make it look a little bit better. So now, as you can see, we have the effect. What you can also do is you can add deep glow, which will make it a lot better actually. Take this checkbox saying required for text, and you can spread out the radius and lower the exposure. Kind of do whatever you want really. It makes the effect look a lot better. You can also on your s_colorize adjust the edge smooth, which will basically adjust how like sharp the edges of the effect are. If that makes sense, kind of. Anyway. Like that. Yeah, something like that I guess would look good. I'm gonna bring up the edge smooth to something. Yeah, something like that would look cool, right? Now I'm gonna show you how to do it if you're not using like paid plugins or whatever. So let me just make everything back to normal. Again, you just wanna do the same thing, adjust the position, scale of it, move it where you want, and then you wanna add find edges, right? Onto your clip. You wanna check this box that says invert. You then wanna add actually no, you wanna add hue/saturation. My bad. You wanna tick this box that says colorize. Up the saturation a lot, like to 100, and then you can adjust the hue, which will basically adjust the color of it. So something like that, I guess, right? And then you want to right click, go to blending mode, change it to linear dodge. And as you can see, you have quite a similar effect. You can also add I'm not sure, After Effects might have glow, right? Glow. Yeah, you can add glow on it, and you can adjust the glow with the glow threshold and stuff. It doesn't look that good since the default After Effects like effect doesn't look that good. However, you can get like still pretty decent results. Like this actually looks pretty decent actually. I'm gonna go ahead and do all of that since the plugin version does look a bit better. Yeah, like that. And now as you can see, if we play this back here, I'm just gonna see, you can see the effect plays fine. However, when it slows down, which is where we've made the cut, the effect disappears. So what you want to do is we also want to rotor brush this part. So again, we just want to double click on the layer here to select it fully. go to rotor brush tool, go to view resolution full, and then we just want to obviously rotor brush this again the same exact way on how we would do it before. Okay, so now once the clip is ended, as you can see on the timeline, the clip is basically ended. You want to freeze it again. Okay, gonna do that. Gonna freeze it and create a mask for us. Go back to our normal composition by clicking there, and as you can see, it's masked out. It's done an okay job. And we want to do the exact same thing as before. Duplicate this clip and delete the rotor brush refine edge on the layer below. Then we want to duplicate the layer with rotor brush on it. Go to the middle clip, and we just want to basically copy everything of the layer we did before. The scale. So I'm just gonna bring up the scale here. Copy this. Go to the position. Okay, so now that you've copied the position and scale to match the same, what you want to do is we want to add the same effects. So I'm just going to copy and paste these effects actually. Just don't copy paste the rotor brush effect. So just copy this, paste it on here, and that actually looks pretty good. Make sure to change your blending mode to linear dodge, and overall that looks pretty good actually. One thing I like to do actually is I like to add a blur on the background. So if we go to the bottom layer here actually, we just add effect. You can use any type of blur. If you're normal After Effects, you can add Gaussian blur. You can just drag this Gaussian blur onto the clip and you can like increase it. And this will basically just blur out the background as you can see, but our knife will still look good. Or if you have the VCC plugin, you can use VCC lens blur OBS, and you just want to drag this to the bottom layer, right? It's a bit too much at first, so I'm gonna put it to something like 1, or let me try 2. Yeah, 2, and increase the gamma, and I'm gonna do the same thing here. And now let me just pre-render this, and I'm gonna show you what we have made. Okay, so now that it's pre-rendered, I'm gonna show you what we made so far. As you can see, that looks pretty fresh actually. Next thing you wanna do is we just wanna before we add a transition, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pre-comp all of this, which will basically put all of these 3 layers into one layer. So when we add a transition, we don't have to apply it to all of the 3 layers individually. So just click on the top layer, hold shift, click on the bottom layer, right click, go to pre-compose, move all attributes to this composition, take this checkbox here, adjust composition duration to the time span of the selected layers, and then uncheck the box that says open new composition. You don't have to call it anything. I'm just gonna go pre-comp 1 by default. Click OK. It's gonna now move all of the 3 layers into one layer. And you can double click in here to go back in it. However, I'm just gonna go back to my main comp. And now what we wanna do is we wanna create the slide transition. To do this, what we wanna do, we're gonna click P on our keyboard, selecting the layer. You wanna click the stopwatch button to make a keyframe. And what we wanna do is we just wanna move the position to the right, because I'm doing a slide transition to the right. And then what I want to do is, before I do this, actually I need to add motion tile on the clip to avoid these black bars again. Here, as you can see, it will remove all the like black bars. And what you want to do is you want to go 7 frames back, 7 to 6 frames. I'm just gonna go do 6, and then you want to put this back to normal, the position back to what it was, which is 960. And now what you want to do is you want to select these keyframes, click F9, then click this graph button here. Now, this graph may look quite different to you, so just right click, and your graph may look like this. Just right click and then click on Edit Value Graph, and where it says this position, like text here, right click on it, click on separate dimensions, and now we want this to go slow then fast, and the graph editor is a bit complicated. I'm going to try my best to break it down and explain it to you for beginners. But to basically use the graph, we just want to click this like square here, which is basically the keyframe we made. It will then pop up with two handles. We want to move the first handle on the left all the way to the right, so it goes slow. As you can see, the curve will go slow, and then the second handle we want to move down. Make sure you're not moving the actual squares, make sure you're moving the handle. And this way, if I show you now, as you can see, the curve will go slow and then fast. Make sure your curve doesn't look like this, because this will mean it will go fast and then slow. So it's a bit tricky to kind of get the hang of. However, it will look good in the end. So one thing you want to do now, I recommend, to make the transition look a bit smoother, is you just want to click this box here. This will enable motion blur. Even if you use RSMB, if you don't know what RSMB is, it's fine. I'll explain later on in the video. Even if you use RSMB, this will just make the transition a bit smoother. And the next thing you want to do is we want to import our second clip. So let's go back to the project panel here, and I'm going to drag in the second clip and do the exact same thing. Actually, you just want to put your like blue thing like timeline right to the marker on where he gets like the first kill, which is roughly here. Yep. And then because we're doing a slide transition, what we want to do is we first of all just want to call it right here, because this video here we don't need, because we just edited all of this part of the video. And now because we're doing a slide transition, it goes from left to right. So what we want it to do now is we want it to go from left to right. Sorry, this goes from right to left. So for here, you need it to go from left to right. This is when you're doing a transition, and the reason we do this is so the transition constantly flows in one direction. So for example, if you try to imagine this now, if it went from right to left here, as you can see, the screen is kind of moving left. We want it to move this way because the direction of our transition is to the right. So I'm gonna drag it a bit like here and make a keyframe, and then go 7 frames forward. And then our position, I want to set back to normal, which I believe was 940. Oh, I'm not too sure actually, but no, 960. Okay, and then what we want to do now again is we want to add motion tile, so we can fix the same thing, so we don't have black bars, right? Like that. Don't look up this too much, otherwise your After Effects will flip and crash out and lag. And now for this time, we want to select these keyframes, click F9, go into the graph editor, right click here, separate dimensions, and this time we want it to go fast and then slow. And this looks pretty good. I'm gonna call it here to where the transition ends and add motion blur by clicking this box here, and this will basically make the transition a bit smoother. And if I play this back, that's a pretty clean slide transition actually. Quite similar to CJ's. And for this bit here, I don't think we need to majorly sync the kills too much, because it kind of fits to the beat. A lot of the way on connorjaiye edits, he doesn't really add too many kill effects, and it kind of just focuses on the kill itself. And not everything needs to be synced. So if I just play this back here and I'll see how it turns out actually, you kind of get an idea of what I mean. And as you can see here, after you got this kill, he's gonna dash, right? When a Jett dashes or something, I like connorjaiye sometimes likes to do a transition. So what you want to do is you want to find a point on where he dashes, on where he's about to end his dash, and the point on where you think he's about to end his dash, you can see like the two hands pop up, right? What you want to happen is you want the hands to roughly be in this position, and then you just want to cut the clip. So now if I play this back, you can see that basically the clip will instantly cut as soon as Jett dashes. And what we want to do now, we want to go to the last frame, before the clip ends, which is roughly here. Click this little camera icon, which will take a snapshot. You'll hear like satisfying camera sound actually. And then what you want to do is you basically just want to find your next clip, assuming it has a dash in it. Because the reason we're doing cutting it at this dash position is I'm showing you how to do the Jett transition. So what you want to do, right, is obviously you want to find your Jett clip with the Jett transition, which I'm gonna find now. Yeah, this clip has a Jett dash in it. I know it does. So what we want to do is let me just hide this layer by clicking the eye here, and then the frame where there isn't anything right after that dash, we want to find on where Jett dashes here. Just click this eye again so I can see stuff. And Jett roughly dashes about here, right? Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to click this show snapshot button right here, and we want to roughly match this video to the snapshot. You want to mainly look at Jett's hands. As you can see, if you look at just focusing on our hands, and I hide this node to snapshot, that's pretty much perfect. So I'm gonna go one frame before and cut it, and we already now have the Jett transition. And that's basically the Jett transition basically done. It's not that too hard actually. You just gotta match the hands, the frame before and after you want the transition. And I'm just gonna put a little bit of impact here, using some simple presets that we made earlier. So again, I'm just gonna create an adjustment layer, go to animation, apply animation preset. I'll just do wave warp, for example. And then I'll add a shake. Just gonna cut these adjustment layers. And you can see again, if you renamed your adjustment layers before, you can just click Ctrl+Shift+D, and then you can click the little brackets symbol on your keyboard. The bracket symbol will look like if my After Effects wants to actually, let me, this bracket here, right here, and this will basically move the adjustment layer you duplicated directly to wherever your like blue timeline thingy is. And if I just play this back now, as you can see, that basically looks pretty good. I do want to probably add a scaling, really quick, which I'll make a preset for you, guys too. So you don't have to make this yourself. If you wanna make it yourself, I'll show you how to do it now too. So just go to effects and presets. I'm gonna search for transform. I'm gonna set the scale to something like 121. Go frames back. Set this to 100. Do this, and I'll make a preset for you guys so you won't have to basically do any of this complicated stuff. I'll call the preset CJ scale impacts. Okay, that's a pretty good scale impact. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna save that as a preset for you guys to use. It will be called Cjaiye scale impact. So now you can use that preset when you're editing. Okay, that's pretty much it for what I wanted to cover on this tutorial. If you do have any questions, let me know. By the way, the font that he uses at the beginning of for some of his videos, you might see is Nexalite. It's my After Effects. It's gonna let me type. Yeah, here we go. If I make the font size obviously a bit bigger, smaller, as you can see, yeah, this is the font he uses. He uses Nexalite at the beginning of his videos. And before we finish this off and render, I want to mention two quick things. Just create an adjustment layer before you render, and go to animation, apply animation preset, go to CJCC. This is the color correction he uses and flicker settings, which will basically just make your game look a bit more vibrant in general. Before you render this, just select the top layer, select the bottom layer, by holding shift, right click, go to pre-compose, move all attributes into this composition, blah blah blah. And next thing you want to do is you want to find directly where your first clip starts and click, don't select anything, just deselect everything, click B, which will basically move this point here. And this will basically specify the beginning point of where your After Effects will render. And then you want to select the end point where your montage will end. I will just end it around here and click the N key on your keyboard. And now basically what this will do is it will allow it so we can put RSMB on our edit. And RSMB is also a paid plugin. If you don't have RSMB, there's no many alternatives, to be honest. You can tick this motion blur button, which won't do a lot. You can use, if you have BCC, you can use BCC motion blur. And if you have BCC plugin, you can just put BCC motion blur on this adjustment layer. And that's it. Or you can use CJ's exact RSMB settings. So make an adjustment layer, add RSMB on it, and it uses 0.6 RSMB. So change the blur amount to 0.6, and that's CJ's RSMB settings. I'm gonna give this a pre-render now. Okay, so now that's done pre-rendering, I'm gonna show you what we made with motion blur. Let's get into it. Okay, so now that's basically the end of the tutorial. Last thing I'm gonna be showing you to do is how to render. So basically go to File, Export, add to render queue. And then you just want to click output to, and you can change on where it's exported to. It will become as an AVI file. However, if you have Adobe Media Encoder, you can convert it later. The reason I don't convert it with Adobe Media Encoder first is because Media Encoder can sometimes introduce a lot of errors and reduce quality. So to get the best quality, go to render settings, click on best settings, go to just best, change resolution to full, just max out all the settings basically. Output module mode, just copy all these things basically. You just want the best settings. Make everything high, blah blah blah. Click OK and click render. Now once it's exported as AVI, you want to open your media encoder up really quick. So what you want to do is you just want to drag the AVI file into your media encoder. Click here. Make sure your format is H.264. Click use maximum render quality. And this will basically just max out everything. Just turn everything up, like everything, like just turn it all up, right? Click the output file, and basically you can change from where it's exported to. Click save, and then click this like the green star button, and it will basically convert it from an AVI to an MP4. And render everything out. This normally takes quite way quicker, because it's just converting the file and not rendering everything. It should make a sound when it finishes rendering. Actually, it's quite satisfying. No, it didn't. Okay, then. So as you can see, we have a MP4 file. Now, one thing CJ does like to do right after this is he scales it using FFmpeg or something to 4K or 1440p. I'll leave a link on how to use FFmpeg because like it's quite complicated and it can kind of be an entirely new tutorial. So I'll leave a link in the description of how you can upscale your videos from 1080 to 4K, which will basically just get the best quality on YouTube, even if you're on a 1080p monitor. And basically, guys, that's it. Yeah. So if you did enjoy, make sure you like and subscribe. Join my Discord, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.